What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego back with some more boxing. Now, I want to take you guys back into a time machine, way back. And I'm going to try to do this a little bit more often on my channel. I've been doing it on Thursdays, Throwback Thursdays, but I'm trying to incorporate some old nostalgic stuff. Lately, boxing's just been real fickle fans, politics, and I wanted to get it back to the old days, the good old days where it was just you see somebody you didn't like, the fight was made, we seen it, there was an outcome, and then we move on. So I want to reflect a little bit more. And today marks a special day for Floyd Mayweather. This was the day in 2001, on the same exact day, January 20th, Floyd Mayweather delivered a masterclass performance against a then undefeated tall and feared puncher. His name was Diego Corrales. So Diego Corrales was fresh off a TKO win over a ranked opponent, Angel Manfredi, for those of you who grew up in the 90s. And Angel Manfredi is also an opponent Mayweather already beat in 1998. And you have to put yourself in that timepiece. At that time, Diego Corrales was the favorite. Many critics and analysts thought that he was going to be too much for little Floyd. And a lot of people thought he would win via stoppage or KO, like it wouldn't go the distance. And oh, how they were wrong. So in that fight, Floyd Mayweather pulled out all the stops and showed the taller 6-foot Diego Corrales why he's one of the best and most skilled boxers of his generation. Mayweather dropped Corrales 5 times before Diego's corner decided enough was enough, and they end up stopping the fight. He dropped him 3 times in one round. I think it was round 7 off the top of my head. I'm actually going to probably watch it tonight just because I got most of my workload done. But it's just a great fight. Very memorable fight. Pretty one-sided, but there's always, anytime there's a fight like that, especially at the time, there's a level of tension in the air because you know Diego Corrales was no joke. He was undefeated, so he hadn't lost. We never seen what he would look like in a fight. He ended his career, I think, with 5 losses, 5 defeats on his record. But at the time, just a huge aura of tension in the air because we hadn't seen him lose at the time. So, and we know he's a lethal puncher and he's a good fighter. So, hell of a fight. You didn't know what was going to happen, and I think Floyd Mayweather shocked a lot of people with that performance. And arguably, it's one of Floyd Mayweather's top performances. Some people probably would put it as the best, given the opponent and given his performance on that night, January 20th, 2001. After this loss, Diego Corrales spent some time in jail. He went on to have legendary fights with tough Mexican Jose Luis Castillo. Corrales' life was unfortunately cut short May 7th, 2007, on the 2-year anniversary, coincidentally, to the first Castillo fight, when he died in a motorcycle accident in Las Vegas. I think he was on the Strip. So rest in peace to Chico, a.k.a. Diego Corrales. If you guys have not seen this fight and you're an up-and-coming boxing fan, I highly, highly advise you to watch this fight, especially if you want to get into coaching or boxing yourself. You could pick up a lot of tricks and tips that Mayweather employed. You got to keep in mind, Diego Corrales could crack, and he was undefeated, so he brought that momentum. He was confident, and he had like a 72, 73-inch reach or something crazy. He was 6 foot. Mayweather, I don't know what his height is. I think they say he's like 5'7", 5'8", but he looks pretty short. When I see him next to other fighters who are supposed to be 5'7", 5'8", Mayweather always looks like small. So just a hell of a fight if you want to catch up on boxing and just see a skilled veteran. And Mayweather, a lot of people sleep on this, but him in the lower weight classes, he was a fucking animal. He was a beast. His speed was ridiculous. Mayweather, in recent memory, has kind of evolved and developed a different style. This is a style in the lower weight classes that, I mean, he is fan friendly. If you would have watched his performances like with Gotti and Gennaro Hernandez and people like that, he had some definite legendary performances. DeMarcus Corley actually hurt Mayweather as well. I think where Mayweather goes wrong in some people's fan is they haven't been following the sport long enough, so they don't know Mayweather's young years, him in the lower weight divisions. They just know the arrogant, flamboyant, not fighting Pacquiao Mayweather. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, they see his new style versus his old style, and like, oh, he doesn't knock anybody out. But he's also a guy who's fighting out of his element. He's getting away with it based on skill rather than like brute force or just being bigger. Most of his last couple opponents I can think of were bigger than him. Canelo was bigger than him. Robert Guerrero was bigger than him. Victor Ortiz. I mean, all those guys naturally, if you just look at him just with the eye test, are bigger than him. But shout out to Diego Corrales as well. He was an awesome fighter, very exciting, and you would put his fights with Jose Luis Castillo up there with the Mickey Ward Gotti trilogy. I mean, these are just classic fights. Again, with Mayweather, I think a lot of people see the one-sidedness in Mayweather fights to the point where it's not exciting. Because I remember after the Miguel Cotto fight, they were like, "Oh, this was Mayweather's greatest fight," just because you've seen him with the bloody nose and you've seen Cotto making him work for every bit of that win. Whereas we've seen other fights with Mayweather and he's pretty cool, calm, and collected, or it's one-sided, like the Robert Guerrero fight. If Robert Guerrero was like knocked Floyd down and gave Floyd a bloody nose, people would say that's the greatest fight Mayweather's been in, just because he was able to get that out of him. So, based on the one-sidedness of some Mayweather fights, I think that's why he gets criticized. When you look at a fighter like Pacquiao, another great fighter, an elite fighter, Pacquiao, he has that rough and tumble. His fights are more tug of war. I mean, there's some one-sided victories that he has, like Brandon Rios and stuff. But even in his other predominantly one-sided victories, like Antonio Margarito, he actually looked hurt in that fight when he was taking some of those vicious body shots Margarito was landing. Even though he was pretty much dominating, there were some good, clean body shots Margarito was affecting him with. Or obviously the Eric Morales fight, especially the first one, the fight with Marquez, all of them. So you look at Pacquiao and you see great fights because people can kind of match his skill set or whatever. But with Mayweather, sometimes he makes it look easy or it's one-sided, not saying anyone can't beat him. But anyway, that's enough rambling. Make sure you check out this fight if you haven't seen it. Floyd Mayweather versus Diego Corrales. Rest in peace to Chico. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next videos, Ego, signing off.